Hey drivers. All right. I got something I want to talk about for real quick. If you've followed the channel for very long at all, you know that my company provides dispatch service for multiple other companies. And I've talked about how there are multiple different management styles out there. Some of them are effective, some of them are mediocre, some of them are headed for broke. Because I provide the dispatch service, I get to see the numbers produced by a half dozen 3-car trailers, by a half dozen 7-car trailers, by whatever the size is. I get to see the numbers produced. And I get to look at the numbers that are produced, and I get to look at the management style producing those numbers. Because you can have the same dispatcher on 4 different trucks, all the same size. Dispatcher gets paid on a percentage basis of everything they're dispatching, so they are motivated to get the best money per mile and the most money per month, because that's how they get paid. They get bonuses when they produce enough money for you to get to different milestones in the month. So they have every reason to find you as a driver the best money they can possibly find you. But they can't force you to take it. There's an old saying that says you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And man, that is so true. So what we do is logistics. Logistics is who we are. If you have, let me throw out an example. Let's just say you've got somebody running from Phoenix, Arizona to Elkhart, Indiana, hauling those RV trailers that are produced in mass up there, and they've got a dedicated route, but they need something coming back, a good load of cars. First problem, dedicated route. Anytime you have a dedicated route, if you don't have a contract for that route and you're trying to gravy pick off the open load board, there's times you're going to get a decent load, there's times you're just not, because they're not there and you can't produce something that's not there. So when you do find something that's decent, you better jump on it quick or you're going to lose it. That's not a great route anyway, as any dispatcher knows. Sometimes you get it out of there with good money and sometimes you can't. It's just not one of those consistent routes. So let's say you come up with a one pick, one drop load that is a $3,000 load. Now we're talking like a 3-4 car trailer, so it's not very big. $3,000 for a semi is not worth sneezing at on that route. But for a 3-4 car trailer, $3 grand, one pick, one drop, it's not great, but in this market, this year, that's a load you better jump on quick and take it, especially when it's less than 150 mile deadhead from your home on either end. So you got less than 150 miles to grab that load, one pick, with the possibility of putting a 4th unit on and one drop on the other end, unless you were able to put that 4th unit on. But there's $3 grand without the 4th unit. So instead of taking that good load, let's say the driver says, no, let's wait. And he sends the dispatcher some screenshots of some stuff, paying less money, and 3 different picks, scattered out a little bit, closer to home, but scattered. So you got 3 different addresses to go to. And he says, hey, I want you to get these 3 $900 units, but I want you to get me a 30% increase. Roughly, 22, 30%. I want you to get $1,200 out of these units. Well, as a dispatcher, you immediately start rolling on the floor laughing, because you know brokers just aren't going to come up like that, with very, very rare exceptions. Of course, a dispatcher is not going to just laugh at the guy on the phone. That would be unprofessional. But he knows already that a new driver has extremely unrealistic expectations. Not only is there unrealistic expectations, but if you start demanding those kind of numbers every single time you call a broker, they're going to start ignoring your phone calls. because they realize they're dealing with a greedy driver. Now, who wouldn't want $300 more on every load? Of course, everybody would. But when they're already paying fair market value for today's industry, which everybody knows is down right now, you can ask for a little bit maybe, but you're already getting a one pick, one drop load, which is great. It's already paying a fair price, especially compared to whatever else is on the board. And let's just say those other units, you might get them up to 1,000. So let's say you do. Now you're dealing with even numbers, $3,000, $3,000. $3,000 one pick, one drop, $3,000 scattered, and starting to drop, say in Missouri, all the way across clear over into Ohio. Now you got to come back and get your RVs heading back. The deadhead miles is about the same on the other end, on the Elkhart, Indiana end. You got about a 3-hour drive coming back, depending on traffic, from your drops, but you got 3 separate stops versus 1 stop. So you're going to have a whole lot more time invested in the 3 stops versus the one pick, one drop load. You also have to remember that going through Missouri, you can't be more than 53 feet long. So depending on your load, you may well have to add a few miles and deviate around it. Now that's not going to change, but if you have to deliver in Missouri with one of them, now you may have to be illegal and dodge a scale. I'm not going to make a big deal about that. That's not what this is about. We're talking logistics. Drivers get tunnel vision. They say, I just want to stay right on my route and I want all my picks and drops to be really, really close to my house. I realize every driver wants that. But if you're missing good money and you're a professional dispatcher that's saying, this is a good deal, you better take it while it's here, and you're arguing and saying, no, let's just wait. Okay, waiting costs you money. Right off the bat, waiting's going to cost you money. Unless you just happen to luck up and find that rare great load that pops up that's better than the already good load in that area, in that market. That's a huge gamble, and that's a gamble that percentage-wise doesn't pay off often enough to be worth the gamble. Any good dispatcher knows that. So here's where the rub comes in. The experienced dispatcher trying to educate the inexperienced car hauling driver. Now maybe the driver's been driving for 15 years and they're a great driver, they're just new to the car hauling industry. And they've hauled a few cars here and there, but they just haven't learned the industry yet. And they got this picture in their mind of what they want the industry to do for them. In a perfect world, snap your fingers, here's your load. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, and you're not going to get that nice straight line load, especially on a route like that, on every trip. And you're certainly not going to get another $200 to $400 per vehicle every time you call a broker. You're going to start getting brokers that put you on a blacklist and won't even answer your phone call. And you try to educate the drivers about this without offending their intelligence, their sensitivities. Some drivers are super sensitive when you try to say, you know, I really think you're going to come out better by going ahead and taking this good paying load. Even if you take the time to lay out the miles and all that, some drivers, they just get locked in and they just say, nope, I've hired you to be my dispatcher. I want you to produce what I want. We can't do that. It's just not there on the board. And you can call your other contacts and they're going to laugh at you. They're going to say, we're getting these units moved every day long, all day long for this price. This is a fair market value. Why would we want to give your driver another $300 on top of this? Don't call us again. You do this every time. Just stop calling. From a dispatcher's perspective, when they're already dealing with 3 or 4 other trucks, well, now they recognize that dispatcher's phone number, who's not calling for the greedy guy, the above market expectations guy, was trying to call for somebody else when they can't even get the broker to answer the phone. So now, not only is tunnel vision guy not getting his loads, but the 3 other trucks aren't getting their loads. So this is what a dispatcher has to balance. And it's part of the education process that we try to provide. Unfortunately, not all drivers are teachable. But here's the thing, guys. If you're teachable, you can succeed in this market. You can succeed even in today's low market, and you can do quite well. And then when the market comes back up, you'll do really well. You just have to be teachable and not come into this industry with the idea that you're going to have the industry do for you what you think it needs to do for you. It just doesn't happen. Then you end up being disappointed in the industry. You're disappointed in your dispatcher because they're not producing what you believe you deserve, when the dispatcher can only work with what's available, and they already are offering you the best stuff on the board. Because like I said earlier, when your dispatcher gets paid on a percentage basis, not on a flat rate per unit, they care what that vehicle pays. That's why my dispatchers don't get paid a flat rate per load or a flat rate per car or a salary or hourly, because I want them to have skin in the game. I want them to care about the quality of the job, about your numbers as a driver. What are you producing? Because they're going to make better money as you make better money. Doesn't mean they're never going to make a mistake, because we're human. But it does mean that they are on your side on this, because the better money you make, the better money they make. So when they make a call to you and say, hey, I've got this load, it's already the best paying load on the board. And 9 times out of 10, when a driver goes on there and starts screenshotting stuff and sending it back, they're missing the fact that load's not available. It's not available until a later date. They don't know the dispatcher's already called about it, and that load's already been dispatched, but a lazy broker hasn't removed it yet. The load's not available to you because you don't have enough positive ratings. There's a reason that the dispatcher has not tried to offer you that particular load, because it's not available to you for any number of reasons. Drivers often don't understand that, and we try to educate them on that. And we're not here to micromanage your business at all, but we are here to do our job in trying to educate, especially the new drivers, trying to keep you loaded, and trying to keep you loaded with the best paying freight available to your company. So that's my rant for the day on dispatching and dealing with new drivers that are still learning. And we always hope all of them are teachable, but sometimes they're just not. And at some point you have to say, you know, I think it's going to be best if you just go be successful somewhere else. At least we hope you can be successful, but by and large, it doesn't take very long until we don't see their company on Central anymore, because if we have to stop dispatching for them in the first place, either their standards aren't high enough, they're satisfied with $7,500 a month for a little dually and a 3-car wedge instead of the 15 grand a month or so or more that a good dispatcher can produce for that same vehicle. We're just not satisfied with that. We're in the business to make money, so some drivers don't appear to be. Their management style and their attitude towards freight says they're just more out here just to drive and see the country than to actually make money. If that's the case, then we're not the company best suited to fulfill your needs. But if you're out here to make good money in this business, that's what we're here for. And we produce good numbers for working off the open load boards. So y'all have a great night. Keep between the lines and keep the greasy side down, drivers. Until next time.